Hey, what's up guys, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And if you aren't, I hope you get a little bit better guys. So welcome back to Anime King, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. Because today I'm going to be giving you part 9 of What If Naruto was given abilities by 4 devils. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in social media platform. And also guys, remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 3, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, with his dragon, Naruto was able to overpower Deidara as he knocked him off his clay bird. As Deidara ended up using a explosive clone as he exploded on Naruto. The real Deidara then looked out to see if the Jinchuriki was taken down, but that was a big mistake as Naruto emerged. His body was cloaked in the Kyuubi form. He started to beat the absolute crap out of Deidara. Deidara was about to get killed, but Naruto's attacked as he had to move. As a black creature, half white, half black, with a strange Venus-like fly trap over his head, attacked Naruto. As he told him that he would be coming back for him one day. The thing was looking at him strangely, but Naruto simply shrugged it off when he took Deidara and flee. The other member of the Akatsuki that Kakashi was fighting, things went overboard and Kakashi got seriously damaged. But as Sasuke was about to get killed, Kakashi impaled him through the heart with the lightning blade. As Naruto ended up severing off the man's head as Kakashi had passed out. With that, they made their way back to Konoha. For the remaining time they just trained as Kakashi was in a bad condition and he had months off as he was still not 100% yet. But he ended up signing up the team for Chunin exams. Iruka was saying that they were not ready, but their statement was quickly back as even Hinata was being trained by Uncle to help her with her shyness. At the house, as Naruto was surprised when Hinata called him into her room, she started to kiss him. She told him how much she loved him. It was not a formal marriage she wanted, she just really loved him. Seeing that no one was there, things escalated to the point where the both of them ended up sleeping together. It was the first time for the both of them and Hinata was so happy that he was her first and she was his. As Naruto had told her why did she hide her body, even the body she had, she always wore that big trench coat. As she took that to heart and decided to make some more changes, Uncle has been helping her so far. So with that, the group, after time had passed, went towards the academy. As they met up with the other groups in there, as Naruto threatened to kill Kabuto after smelling snake on the man, as the man had too much sensitive information, but Ibiki came in. They went through the first parts of the test, as they ended up passing. The ones that passed made their way. As a grass ninja had gave Uncle back her kunai after she had slit Naruto's cheek with it. As Naruto smelled it, the stench of snakes, as he made a signal to Uncle. Uncle told him to be calm. Don't do anything, don't draw any attention. As she told him to ready himself for the second part of Chunin exams, the Force of Death. This should be fun, Naruto thought to himself. Team 7 was given a heaven scroll, as everyone was at the gate, as Team 7 was at gate 12, waiting for Uncle to give the call. The loudspeaker then went off. Alright you maggots, the second phase of Chunin exams begins now. With that, all the gates start to go up, and everyone dashed inside. Time skip, 15 minutes later. 15 minutes has passed since coming here, and already there were screams all around. As Naruto and his team were making their way when he suddenly stopped. Guys, get going, he said. I'll be right back. Naruto, where are you going, asked Sakura. The Bleed the Lizard, said Naruto. If you want to come, feel free. But don't expect me to do anything with you. As Sakura gaped at what he said, but Naruto ordered to walk off in the forest. After a few minutes, Naruto zipped up his pants, and he was ready to go off once again, until a group of rain ninjas flashed above. Coming towards him, they thought they had a sneak attack. Suddenly, he was gone. The three of them landed on the ground as they were confused. So, you guys thought you could sneak attack me, huh? How pitiful, said Naruto. Come on guys, it's just one person. The three of them pulled out their kunais. Naruto simply smirked as he pulled out Yamato. Surrender your scroll to us and we might consider letting you live. You may have dodged our sneak attack, but you cannot beat the three of us on your own. Screw you all, said Naruto. The three of them dashed towards him, wasting no time. When they near him, Naruto pulled the sword from the sheath, as he then placed it back in the sheath. If you had a normal set of vision, the only thing you would see was that Naruto pulled out his sword and then resheathed it. But if you had enhanced vision, you'd have seen that Naruto made 10 quick slashes already. The three Rain Ninjas were confused. They were about to move once again until one of them screamed out in pain, followed by the other two screaming as blood exploded from their bodies. Large, nasty cuts all over them. As they collapsed on the ground, all of them dead. Naruto went and searched them. Naruto's side was a heaven scroll. Sasuke was the one that got the heaven scroll on him, as he was the one to collect it, and he held on to it. Naruto decided to keep the scroll for now. You know, you guys would have lived if you didn't screw with me. As Naruto walked out to see his teammates standing there. Huh? What are you guys doing here? I thought I told you to go ahead. We didn't want to risk getting separated here and failing this part of the exam. Sasuke said as Sakura nodded. Yeah, and we also heard screams from where you were. So we doubled back here, said Sakura. Whatever, said Naruto. Let's just find a team and get the hell out of here. The moment they took a step forward, a gust of wind slammed into their position. Naruto was in the center as he got hit the hardest. All of them were blown away. Time skip. As Naruto found himself in a tree trunk, he groaned, God damn it, as he pulled himself out of it. He shook his head as he looked around. He didn't even know where he was. He heard something come from behind him. His head was still a bit dizzy as he turned. The moment he did though, he was swallowed by a massive snake. The snake felt the boy go down, and was happy that the mission was over so easily. The snake started to slither forward but stopped when it felt something. It felt like it was heating up from the inside. The snake started to open its mouth as smoke came out of it, until suddenly something ripped through its skull, as it was a flaming Kyuubi. As Naruto carved a massive hole in the snake's skull and jumped out. Jumping out of it, the snake was thrashing around, not yet dead. Naruto pulled out his two guns as he started to fire two into the snake's eyes before the thing poofed away. Poofing away. So, he's here. I don't think those two can manage if he's after them. Meanwhile, with Sakura and Sasuke, they were both trying to catch their breath after dealing with a ninja that seemed to be unstoppable. The ninja was from grass. When she first showed up, Sasuke was confident he could beat her. But after using some kind of strange jutsu that made the both of them see their death 10 times over, the tables has turned. It was quick thinking by Sasuke to stab himself in the leg to break from the jutsu and jump away. Sasuke-kun, who was that thing? Sakura asked. Sasuke shook his head. I don't know. This person seemed to have such incredible power it surpassed me. It may even surpass Naruto. Sasuke was sure that he couldn't beat this person on his own. If Naruto was here though, maybe they could win against this person. But how can you be so sure? I mean, that person caught us off guard. And Naruto has powers that he hasn't even showed us yet. Sakura said no, wishing Naruto was here and could help them fight this person. Be that as it may, the only thing we can do right now is run, said Sasuke, as he saw the situation clear as day. He could not beat this girl. He quickly pushed Sakura off the tree that they were standing on. The moment he did, as a huge snake clamped down in the tree, forcing the both of them to land on the ground. The snake came after Sasuke, forcing him to run. Sasuke felt the unnatural, overwhelming fear wash over him. Sasuke jumped, but snake slammed into him. He was slammed into a branch as he cried out in pain. The snake then charged towards him and looked like it wanted to devour him. But luck was on Sasuke's side. Something stabbed the snake into its eye as the thing reeled back in pain as something dropped on the tree branch. But that was not the only thing the blur did. The head of the snake then slipped off, dropping down the ground. Sasuke looked up as Naruto was standing there. Sasuke, are you scared? Naruto asked. As he flipped and landed. You can't let your fear overwhelm you, or you won't be able to do a single thing. As he was now standing right in front of Sasuke, a loud pop was heard as Summoner came out of the snake's head and looked towards Sasuke and Naruto. This is quite an interesting situation I'm in. Yes, it is. You know you can remove that mask, Orochimaru, and fight me for real. Orochimaru started to laugh. Smart boy. As he ripped off the fake face, showing his yellow slitted eyes underneath. Seems like things are just getting started, said Naruto. Orochimaru licked his lips. His tongue was incredibly long. My, Naruto-kun. How do you know it was me? Please, do you think that someone like you that smell of snakes will go past me? Naruto summoned the Kyuubi and released some of the Kyuubi's chakra as his eyes became red with slits. Orochimaru raised the eyebrows as he felt the power output. That was unexpected. Things are certainly most intriguing this time around. Eventually, you'll be too much of a trouble for me to handle. I can just see it. So I'll take you down, right now. Orochimaru's cheeks puffed out as he reeled his head back and opened his mouth. A snake crawled up from Orochimaru's throat and opened its mouth. The snake opened its mouth wide as Orochimaru reached as a sword came from the snake's mouth, which Orochimaru pulled out. It was a famous Kusanagi blade. Orochimaru took a firm hold of the handle and charged towards Naruto. Naruto swung his blade as red flames exploded from it and fly towards Orochimaru. But Orochimaru twisted his body unnaturally and dodged the flame as he appeared above Naruto. He brought down his blade as Naruto blocked it with the Kyuubi though, as he pulled back his hand and slammed it in Orochimaru's guts. Flipping up, Naruto slammed his leg into the side of Orochimaru's head. As Naruto kicked him right in the face, Orochimaru was sent sailing as he slammed into the tree behind him. Demonic scale fire release, Black Dragon Fire sent Naruto as he launched a giant black dragon and connected it with his Sannin. He then cut off the flow of chakra as he called back Kyuubi and summoned Yamato to his hand as he gripped the blade tightly. Orochimaru was no longer there. Spinning, Naruto dodged a stab that came from above as he twisted on his heel and rushed towards Orochimaru. The both of them clashed with their blades. I must say, Naruto-kun, seems you are pretty impressive indeed. More than I even thought. How about you join me, and I'll give you power the world has not ever seen before. Naruto flipped back and stood still. I'm afraid I must tell you to shove that offer somewhere deep and dark. Besides, I'm not into guys, pedophile, said Naruto. As he rushed forward, Orochimaru's attacks became more vigor. Seemed that statement angered him. Sasuke and Sakura were watching the fight, watching their teammate. Sakura was getting worried about Naruto getting hurt, but Sasuke was fearful. He didn't know why he was just so fearful back then. He didn't fight like he should have. He was running, and Naruto had to came and save his ass. He cursed himself for that. He has to get back in this. He has to help kill Orochimaru. Meanwhile, Orochimaru flipped over Naruto's shoulders and landed right behind him. His sword lashed out to strike, but Naruto muttered the words, Spiral Sword. As 6 summoned swords appear around him, the ghost-like sword slammed right into Orochimaru's chest. But Orochimaru burst into mud. You are quite interesting, Naruto-kun, a voice said behind him. But I'm afraid I don't really have time to waste, Orochimaru said. Striking Shadow Sneaks! Naruto spun with Yamato and sliced off the snake's head. Fire release Grand Fireball Jutsu as he fired a massive stream of flame. Orochimaru flipped up the tree and launched himself towards Naruto as he stabbed his blade right through Naruto's stomach. But suddenly Naruto poofed up in smoke. The real Naruto appeared and sliced to take off Orochimaru's head. But Orochimaru twisted his head around unnaturally and blew flames from his mouth that slammed into Naruto. As Orochimaru prepared for his next jutsu, as Naruto was pinned to the tree, Orochimaru extended his long, extremely long tongue and rocked around Naruto. As he slammed his palm into Naruto's stomach, 5 Elemental Seal. Naruto cried out in pain as he felt his strength start to leave him. As Orochimaru saw the sword that Naruto dropped, he picked up the sword to study it. Not a bad sword. He flipped it and drove it right into Naruto's stomach as Naruto coughed up some blood. I'll be back for it once I claim my prize. He vanished from sight. As Naruto collapsed down, Naruto felt himself getting weaker and weaker as his demonic powers dwindled. Meanwhile, shit, the Kyuubi said, as a barrier came around his cage. Neven stepped up to it and placed her hand on it, only to recoil from the backlash. Damn, that is quite a lot of power this seal is packing. It will be hell to break through one of these seals. To make it worse, we're in here and not outside. That is not the only thing it does. It renders all demonic power useless. So right now, he's just a bloody human. Wait, does that mean he can die? As she wondered if Naruto would bleed out and die, not having his regeneration power. Yes, the Kyuubi said, back in the real world. As the blood started to leak from Naruto, it was already forming a pool, leaking on the tree and dropping down. His regeneration was not kicking in, as he started to feel weaker and weaker, as he did not notice something appeared. I can't die here. Survive. Naruto heard the voice. There was a figure walking towards him. Naruto didn't see it though as his head was down, but he felt himself getting stronger. I must live. You must live. You can't die here, the figure said. I must continue to fight, said Naruto as he lifted up his head. As he finally saw the figure, You must fight to survive, but in order to do so, you will need power. And I can grant you this power, but only for a moment, the figure said. So survive, until you can truly use it. It's all up to you. The figure grabbed onto Naruto's hand, and the both of them vanished in a flash of red. With Sasuke and Sakura, Sasuke cried out in pain as Orochimaru sank his fangs into his neck, giving the curse mark. Once Orochimaru planted enough chakra, he pulled back his head and smirked. Sasuke dropped to his knees as Sakura rushed over. What did you do to Sasuke, cunt? She said, sending Orochimaru a dead glare. But Orochimaru simply laughed at her. You are too weak to be intimidated, little girl. But anyway, I gave Sasuke a little gift. Power, that he will come to seek me for more. Orochimaru then pulled out the heaven scroll that he stole from them, as he had took it from Sasuke, as he burned it. Sakura watched her team, passing the exam, go up in flames. You monster, you won't get away with this, she said. I'm afraid you're too late. Not even your white hair friend was able to stop me. What can you do? Where is he? What did you do to him? Tell me, she said. He's probably dead by now. Orochimaru then felt a spike. The moment he turned, though, something slammed into him. He flew through 10 trees before slamming into the final one. His back bent unnaturally. Orochimaru felt a daze wore away. As he saw something coming, he tilted his head. The tree was blown apart. As he had to move, but he could not move fast enough, a blast of wind smashed into him. Orochimaru slowly picked himself up. He brought up the Kusanagi blade as a fist slammed into it. Orochimaru saw he was looking into her eyes. Bright golden eyes. As pure rage was behind those eyes. How are you still alive? I made sure that you wouldn't survive by placing a seal on you. No possible way you could survive. A stab wound to the stomach like that, no one would. How are you alive? Naruto moved over the blade and grabbed Orochimaru by the throat. As he didn't say a word, he slammed Orochimaru's head into the tree. He raised his hand as he started to form a Rasengan. You should have made sure you finished me off, said Naruto. A pure gold Rasengan, the black orb in the center. Solar flare. Rasengan, said Naruto as he slammed it into Orochimaru's gut. The entire place was illuminated by the explosion. When the light finally died down, the trees that surrounded Naruto were burned to ashes. As Naruto tried to find Orochimaru but he could not, he then heard a cough as he turned to see Orochimaru off into the distance, holding on to his stub of the left arm. Orochimaru's left eye was also gouged out, as there was a nasty long burn coming down his face, as blood was leaking from it. You bastard, Orochimaru said. I should have killed you when I had the chance. But don't worry. We will meet again, boy. And I'll make sure I kill you that time. He started sinking into the tree, running as quick as possible. As Naruto stood there as he started to feel the power diminish. But he felt another power as he looked down at the seal Orochimaru placed on him. As the Kyuubi seal started to glow red underneath it, with purple lightning crackling over it, Naruto cried out to that scream. The scream turned to a demonic roar as golden chakra exploded out of his body and went to the sky. All throughout Leaffield felt the enormous amount of power. Sakura was behind the trees, her eyes closed as she was covering her ears. As she looked around the tree, she saw the figure as he was covered by a golden light. As he started to fade to reveal it was Naruto. Before she could say anything, he started to fall. As she rushed forward and caught him, as he was out like a light. Time skip. Sakura dragged the both of them away, as she was now treating them. As she placed a wet towel over Naruto and Sasuke's head, she looked at the both of them as they were unconscious. She was in a bad situation right now. No Naruto, no Sasuke, no Kakashi. No one to protect her from dangers. As she looked at Sasuke, as she saw him tremble in pain. Orochimaru did something to you, you're still in pain. She looked over at Naruto. And you still continue to forbid me from knowing you. Why, she said. I knew I treated you badly. That I was just a stupid, naive person back then. I want to be your friend. Please, Naruto, let me in. She said that tears trailing her face. Only heard a faint whisper that said no. Time skip. Sakura had set up some traps around, so she could keep them safe if anyone tried to come here. She wanted to sleep, but she had to keep herself awake as she slapped herself. She had to be on guard. Unknown to her though, the genuine team from sound was watching her. It appeared the target has yet to fall asleep, said Dosu. Why the hell are we even waiting? Let's just take them out right now while we have an opening, said Zaku as he looked towards a hollow tree. Yeah, I agree with Zaku. Why are we waiting for the Uchiha to wake up? We can take them out now, said Ken. I know what you mean, but we were given a mission from Orochimaru-sama. and we must not fail him. Hearing that, the both of them nodded in agreement. What about the girl? Orochimaru doesn't want anything with her. She's the weakest, after all. It's alright, the second we attack, we'll take her out first, and wait for the Uchiha to awaken. Remember what the objective is. The next day, as the traps were not set off, she had to throw a kunai to block a squirrel from setting off one of them, as he got too close. She yawned loudly as she stepped outside. She wanted to get into an area closer to the tower, but the moment she stepped out, the sound ninjas came out of their position. Sleep well? Sakura eyes widened when she heard the voice. No need to be surprised. Now be a dear and go wake up Sasuke. We have some business to deal with him. Sakura quickly pulled Takuna as she stood her ground. No. You people, you're with Orochimaru as well, aren't you? As those simply looked at her. What is he doing here? And what does he want with Sasuke-kun? Your boss already put some word mark on his neck that caused him so much pain and now you want to fight him? What kind of game is he playing? Those who ponder her statement. Yes, what kind of game is that man playing? He turned towards Sakura. While Orochimaru-sama actions are indeed questionable, I'm afraid I can't allow you to live with that type of knowledge. Alright, I'll just kill this bitch and then it's Sasuke, said Zaku. Zaku, stop, said Dosu. Dosu then stepped forward and placed Hana over a trap. You must be at novice level if you think you can fool people so easily with their traps. There's a recently overturned stone. The grass you lay down is of a different color from this type. And also grass doesn't grow in this type of vegetation. I'm afraid this won't help you, girlie. So that was why you threw the shuriken. You didn't see your trap. You want to make sure it didn't set off yours. Zaku said, as Kane scoffed and looked towards Sakura. Well, the real fighters are unconscious. She's just probably the cheerleader of the team. As Sakura started to shake slightly. See? Look at you. You're not even a threat and you call yourself a shinobi. What a joke, said Kin. The three of them jumped in the air. Sakura smirked as she threw her kunai towards a tripwire. A swinging log came down towards them quickly. Zaku snorted and extended his arm. The log was blown to pieces. Girl, you have no talent, and some like you can never defeat us, said Dosu, as he raised his right arm over his head, as he got ready to take down Sakura with one attack. But all of them were knocked away rather quickly. As Sakura blinked, as Lee was standing there. Attacking the lady is one thing, but a triple team on her is something that I will have to step into. As Lee had on his glasses to block his eyes, after unlocking the machine gun. As he kept them covered, to keep as much Sakura as possible, only to use them in emergency. Who are you? Sakura said. She did recognize him though as one of the people that talked to Naruto before starting the exam. I am Konoha Black Hurricane, Rock Lee, said Lee, as the sunlight reflected off his glasses. So, what is it now, said Lee. You're willing to fight her so quickly a minute ago. Why not stand up now and fight me? Lee-san, why are you here? Sakura asked. They were not on the same team. Why would he protect her? Unlike a certain someone, I am more than willing to protect you, for the right reasons. Let's see, Sakura-chan is in no position to fight. Naruto and Sasuke are out of it, and I'm outnumbered 3-1. Lee smirked. Sounds like good odds to me. Meanwhile, damn it, why can't we find a team that is weaker than us? Said Ino as she threw her arms in the air. Because all the weak teams were taken out before we could even get to them. I always thought that Team 7 was weaker because of Naruto, but nowadays that's not the case anymore. If what Kabuto told us before the exam started was true, Shikamaru said as he remembered in the academy when him, Choji, Kiba, and Naruto would skip school and hang out at the park just to chill. They were the best of friends during that time. Plus, they had the smart, strong, and drop gorgeous Sasuke in their team, Ino said. Shikamaru snorted. Sasuke is too full of himself, with that ego of his. Hey, shh, said Choji. Look. As they all peered through the bushes. Look, both Sasuke and Naruto are out cold. Sakura is standing there with someone else. As the three of them watch, as Lee was taking on two boys. Meanwhile, Sakura panted hard in exhaustion as he pulled another kunai against the sound kunoichi. Off to the side, Lee was holding his own against the two of them. The both of them using their techniques, Zaku using a hole in his arms for his ear blast, and Dosu using his gauntlets. That would have worked if not for Lee's new healing factor, and the fact that he was strong enough to withstand the attack. As she thought that Lee was in trouble, she was going to assist him until she was knocked down. Her hair was then grabbed by the sound kunoichi. Lee moved to save her, but the two boys got in his way. Zaku blasted in the air, forcing him to jump back. You see, you're not a shinobi. You're just probably a worthless fangirl. You don't have a decency to cover your hair, knowing that strawberry color will be spot from a mile away. As Kin gripped Sakura's hair even tighter. Sakura herself was now reflecting. As she remembered the day she and Ino stopped being the best of friends. She remembered a rumor going around the academy that Sasuke liked blonde-haired girls, and Ino liked him back because she was blonde. So she ended her friendship with her as they started to quarrel. As she started to grow out her hair so she can get Sasuke's love, even though it was a blonde. Her hair was long and pretty. Then she remembered, "You're so useless. You will die soon if you don't shape up." She remembered Naruto telling her. She gripped her kunai and sliced her hair that she has been growing since her childhood. As she then got up, Kin looked towards her as Sakura surprised and body slammed her down to the ground. But Zaku then blasted Sakura from behind as Dosu was focusing on Lee. Sakura tried her best, but she was no match for Dosu as she was blasted back towards a tree. Dosu started to step forward. Team 10 was about to intervene as Sakura's life was in threat. Ino drew kunai and was about to charge in. But a demonic voice spoke. What the hell is going on? As golden chakra spilled from a tree. It was then they saw him step out. It was Naruto. The golden chakra flickered around his body. As Naruto saw Sakura in bad shape. Sakura, who did this to you? Sakura glanced towards the Sound Shinobis. Naruto turned as he saw Zaku standing there with an arrogant smirk. So, you like to smile, huh? Said Naruto. As a smirk came on his face as well. Zaku stepped and raised both of his hands towards Naruto. I don't care who you think you are, you're no match for me. Zaku released his most powerful ear blast. Naruto started to laugh as the thing tore through the trench before he roared. A mighty roar that blew away the ear blast like it was nothing. I guess you're up first. A shower of killing intent washed off his body. Everyone started to tremble. The moment he took a step forward, he blurred out of sight. Before Zaku could say anything, a fist smashed into his guts as he coughed up blood. Naruto then slammed his head into the earth, stamping on the back of his head. You seem to like your arms, said Naruto. As Naruto grabbed onto both of his arms and stepped into his back. As Naruto yanked them, Zaku's arms seemed to pop as a loud cracking sound could be heard. As he cried out in pain, Naruto raised his foot once again and slammed into Zaku's head, knocking him out cold. Naruto then pulled out Reaper and pointed the gun behind him and fired. Dosu cried as the thing burst into his arm. As Naruto smiled towards Dosu, you have two choices, both of which you lose something. One, you can get you and your team out of here, or two, you can stick around long enough for me to get really pissed off. And you don't want that. I tend to do devilish things when I'm in a kind of an emotional state. Dosu didn't need to be told twice. He pulled out his scroll and handed it over, as that was enough insurance for him to grab his team and run. But he then paused as he was in tree limb. Tell me something. Was it really you that destroyed Orochimaru-sama arm? As Naruto simply smiled. Oh yeah, guess it was. Wait, what did he do to Sasuke-kun? Asked Sakura as she got up to her feet. I don't know what he did, but if I had to guess, I would say that he's already dead. Sakura gasped as Dosu jumped off. Naruto then turned as he blasted his gun into the bushes. In no less than 2 seconds, Ino jumped out in rage. What the hell, Naruto? You could have killed us! Ino, it didn't even hit us. It flew over our heads and hit the tree behind us, said Shikamaru. With Choji nodded. Tenten and Neji then jumped over the trees. You know that was me, Naruto-kun, said Tenten. Well, I guess I can make it up to you, said Naruto, as that edge had left him already. Maybe you can, she said, as she wrapped her arms around him and kissed him right on the lips, shocking everyone. But before they could say anything, there was a surge of chakra. A malicious, dark chakra. As Neji activated his Byakugan, the source was coming from Sasuke, as his body was now standing tall, with flame-like markings over one side of him, with his two-pronged Sharingan spinning wildly. Sasuke scanned the area until his eyes locked on Naruto. Then more power started to ooze from him, as Naruto stepped in front of Tenten to protect her from the feeling of the chakra. Naruto and Lee seemed to be the only ones that weren't affected by this chakra at all. It's time though, fight me. It's time for us to see which one of us is superior to the other. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, Uchiha, but if you attack me, I'll beat the crap out of you, said Naruto, and knock some sense to that head of yours. Sasuke wastes no time running through hand signs. Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu, he said. Naruto dodged all the small fireballs. Sasuke appeared in front of him with a hook towards his head, but Sasuke was greeted by a boot that slammed into his face. He flew through the air as Naruto appeared behind him. Do you still think I'm weak? Naruto flipped over Sasuke and slammed his foot into his stomach as Sasuke winced out in pain as he crashed down into the tree. As Naruto landed and started to walk away, Sasuke got up as Naruto pulled out Reaper and fired it, as it slammed right into Sasuke's head. knocked him out. The others were shocked as he took down Sasuke without breaking a sweat. Naruto looked at Sakura as he picked up Sasuke. "Let's go, Haruna," he said, as he needed them to pass his test. Sakura quickly regained her senses along with Team 10 and Team 9. After arriving at the tower, after finding out the little riddle, Naruto dropped Sasuke as they talk about what transpired before he went off. He was tired, he wanted to get some sleep. Time skip. The remaining days come and gone, as Team 7 was now standing with the others that passed through the exam. Among them were Team Guy, the Rookie 9, Team Kabuto, the team from the Sun, and Team from the Sand. Uncle stood in front of them with a blank look on her face. However, every few seconds or minutes, she glanced towards Naruto, said white-haired boy, yawning into his hand. The last few days was spent doing nothing but sleeping and eating. It was also during that time he got a little fun time with Hinata. "I told those brats I'll cut them all in half, but 21. It's a bit disappointing," Uncle said. "I was kind of hoping only a few would make it," as she nodded towards the Hokage. "Your team is quite impressive, Kakashi. Well, perhaps they just got lucky this one time. But with my team here, your team will have to do the impossible to accomplish what many cannot," Guy said quietly. As Kakashi was reading his book, he then finally looked up. "Oh, Guy, did you say something?" "Damn you, Kakashi, with your hip attitude. I swear I will beat you once more and show that the flames of youth will always prosper again." Kakashi's sweat dropped as he turned towards the teams. "For some unknown reason, I don't have a good feeling about this," Sasuke said, as he grunted in pain and held onto his shoulder. "Sasuke-kun, you need to have that thing checked out. Who knows what will happen if that thing activates again," she said. "I'm fine," he said to her. "Please, Sasuke-kun, you must give up and—" "I am not quitting, Sakura," he said, cutting her off. "Not for anyone, especially not for you," he said. "I must reach my goal, and if fighting through this, I have to do it. Uchiha, you're already going down a bad path with that demonic Ikki on your neck. If you lose yourself that power, you don't have to worry about your desire because I'll make sure it ends right there and then." Sasuke scowled. Sarutobi cleared his throat, catching your attention. "Now to everyone that made it this far, I have to congratulate you all on passing the exams," as he started to give one of those long speeches, as all of them just stood there and listened, until he passed over the reins towards Hayate, the man who would be the proctor of the preliminaries. As Naruto looked at Hayate, the man was quite pale and had large bags under his eyes. All in all, he looked half dead, as many of them wondered why he was a shinobi. "Hello everyone," he coughed. "I am Hayate, the proctor for the third exams. The preliminaries." "Preliminaries? What are you talking about?" "To be honest to you all, the first two parts of these exams are pretty easy. Gathering information and make your way around a surrounding area. The simple fact that several teams completed the exam this year is proof that it's getting too easy. In order to maintain the right amount, we must reduce the numbers to a manageable number for the third test. We can't have so much of you fighting for the finals, so that number will be cut down by the preliminaries. And the finals will be permitted by many guests, and we're limited for a time, so all of you cannot participate. Now then, before we begin, anyone that isn't off the snuff, you can leave if you think you're not in the condition to fight." Sasuke looked over at Sakura as he had to stop her from raising her hand. She wanted to raise her hand for his sake, as he told her that he was fine. Kabuto raised his hand, however, claimed that he lost too much chakra, and he had an injury that had yet to heal fully yet, as Naruto stood in front of his path before he could leave. "You're lucky I have something to deal with now, but the next time we meet again, it won't be on talking terms." As Naruto pulsed his chakra, Kabuto felt a slice go across his chest as he collapsed down, blood leaking from the wound. Kabuto blinked as he was back in the room, as he touched his chest in a panic, but there was nothing there. What the hell? Naruto stepped past him as Kabuto quickly went out the door, as he couldn't reveal anything. But that boy, was he suspecting something or getting close? Hayate moved on, seeing that no one else was going to win the exam, as he pointed towards the large board that went through names. The first match being Sasuke versus Akadu Yorwe from Kabuto's team. "The rest of you head up to the first balcony," said Hayate, as everyone made their way up there. Kakashi was waiting up there for two of them, as Kakashi had told Sasuke not to activate the Sharingan, or else you have to step in and end the match. As Naruto was knowing that if that happened, Sasuke, Kurama could go insane. But without Uchiha Sharingan, he was basically useless, as he wondered how will he win this. As the match started, Sasuke was on the defensive, as Yorwe could drain someone's chakra and use it as his own. Naruto was surprised to learn about an ability like that. There was never any known clan that someone can absorb chakra and use it as their own. But in the end, Sasuke proved that he can only fight with the Sharingan. The same move that Naruto used on him in the forest, Sasuke seemed to have copied it and used on Naruto. He tried to add in some mid-air combos, trying to say that it was his, as he called it a Lion Barrage and ended the match, with him being the winner. Kakashi appeared behind him and took him away from the area, as he went to patch up that seal on his neck. The next match was Shino vs Choji. The match didn't really last for too long, as Shino just kept on dodging Choji over and over. Choji did not realize that Shino bugs were sucking him dry, so by the time Choji went to roll again, he collapsed unconscious, making Shino the winner, as Choji was taken away by the medics, having some difficulty at first because of his size. The next match was Kankuro versus Kabuto's last teammate. This didn't even last for a couple of minutes, as the man was fighting a puppy the entire time. Once the real Kankuro showed himself, the match was over. After the medics got the body of Misume, the scream lit up once again, and two more names came up. Shikamaru versus Kiba. Yeah, too bad we didn't get the dope, but Shikamaru will do, right Akamaru? Said Kiba, as Akamaru barked in acknowledgement, as he flipped over the rail and landed. Shikamaru sighed as he made his way down slowly. Hayate said begin. Kiba didn't waste any time. Base Mimicry, all force jutsu, as he charged. Shikamaru simply dodged the left, but he quickly turned, piercing Fang as he turned to a spinning tornado and came towards Shikamaru once again. As Naruto watched the match with slight boredom, as Kiba was just attacking and Shikamaru dodging. You know, this is getting boring, said Naruto. Shikamaru, take him out already. Troublesome, said Shikamaru, as he stood there. Kiba smirked, got you now, as he came spinning in. It was then that Shikamaru simply lowered himself to the ground, as Kiba smacked right into the wall, knocked himself out, as he fell off the wall unconscious, as everyone started to laugh, some of them trying to hold in their laughter. The next set of names were chosen. Sakura versus Tenten. Sakura looked confident that she would win this match to show Naruto that she wasn't useless, until he spoke. Sakura, forfeit the match and save us some time. Why should I? You already think I'm useless. I'm gonna prove you wrong. She felt hurt, but she remembered that Naruto did not like her anymore, or trust her. I'm not saying that because I think you're worthless, just because that. I'm saying it out of pity to Tenten. You won't even be a challenge to her. Maybe Temari can give her a run for her money, but not you. Tenten blushed, knowing that Naruto was confident in her ability as a kunoichi. As Temari looked over, she hasn't even fought yet. Well, she was strong. Sakura simply shrugged it off with a determined look on her face, although it hurt, as she made her way down to the floor. Naruto simply sighed as he watched the fight down below. That would be extremely easy for Tenten, as Tenten looked rather bored. She could tell that this girl was not kunoichi material. You should have listened to Naruto-kun. He knew what he's talking about when it comes to fighting. No, I'm going to prove once and for all that I'm not worthless and beat you right here. Alright, begin, said Hayate. Sakura threw 3 kunais, as she quickly went through hand signs and created 2 clones at her side. Tenten said she dodged the first kunai and grabbed the other 2, and tossed them and took out the fake clones. Tenten stepped aside, knocking Sakura over a bit and made her trip on her own 2 feet. But Sakura spun and latched out with her leg for Tenten caught it and swing her across the room. If that's the best you can do, you might as well give up now, said Tenten. I'm only giving you one last chance to give up. Someone playing ninja has no way to beat one. Sakura got off the ground. I'm not playing ninja, I earned this headband, and I plan to prove to you the reason why I earned it. Please, the only requirement is that you pass a written exam, make a few clones, and impress your sensei with teamwork. Naruto-kun told me, just face the fact, you're worthless. Sakura launched another kunai, not wasting time, as she created 2 more clones. All 3 of them run a crisscrossing pattern as they got ready to attack, but Tenten slapped the kunai away and ran towards Sakura, as Tenten dodged under the kick that one of the clones sent towards her. The real Sakura came in only for Tenten to uppercut her, as the 2 clones vanished. She landed on the ground with a hard thud. Do you really think that would work? Academy, school trick. On a 2-year. Jenny, are you serious? Naruto-kun told me at the academy you recognized as the smartest amongst the generation of kunoichis, but here you are still using the method of the academy. That's quite stupid. You know, if you really want to be a ninja, you have to change. The only thing Naruto-kun told me that you do is fawn over that idiotic Uchiha, who doesn't even acknowledge you. He pretends like he doesn't even know who you are. Instead of spending your time training and improving your skills, you want to go on dates and look all pretty. Now I can understand. And maybe you even understand why he called you weak. If you don't understand that, you will never change at all. Tenten seemed to walk past her, chopping in the back of the neck, as Sakura fell unconscious. As Sakura was carried away on the stretcher, Tenten made her way up. Once again, she gave Naruto a small kiss. As the people around them looked towards him, "How did I do, Naruto-kun?" she asked. "Like a lady after my heart," he said. The next match, Temari versus Ino. "Damn, Temari-chan got the ease on as well," said Naruto, as Hinata and Tenten was right beside him. "Naruto-kun, don't say that. Ino-san can win this," said Hinata. "No," said Naruto. "The only thing she has over Sakura is one jutsu. But the only way to do that is to catch her opponent off guard. She's a far worse fangirl than Sakura is. If you even ask her to go training, she would probably need to bribe her with something. But Temari, she looked like a real kunoichi," said Naruto. "Not her." The match was over in seconds. One wind side jutsu, and Ino was out. "Not a bad premonition, kid," said Kankuro. "My sister is recognized as the strongest genuine kunoichi when it comes to Hina-san. So as you can see, that means she's quite impressive here, because when it comes to here, our kunoichis aren't weak." Naruto really couldn't blame the boy on that. "But you're wrong," said Naruto. "Not all of them are weak." The scream on the wall then flashed as two more names were called. Lee versus Kin. Lee made his way down along with Kin. Hayate told him to begin. "Normally, I don't fight women, so I won't attack you," said Lee. "Okay then, I guess it'll be an easy win for me." Lee reached up towards the sunglasses as Kin pulled out some senbons. "I said I wouldn't attack you, not that I wouldn't fight you. I have other means to get the victory." Kin, focus, as Lee's eyes started to spin, as she felt her entire body felt strange, as the girl felt all tingly over and strange, before she dropped to the ground. "Don't stop, Lee-kun," she said. "Right there, don't stop," she kept on muttering. Everyone looked at the song girl in confusion, as she released a scream of pleasure, as everyone was watching the scene down below, as she was there looked like she was having the time of her life, over and over again. As Lee covered his eyes, the glasses, as Kin passed out from pleasure, making his way up there, everyone was staring at him. "You're all wondering what I did, huh? Well, that was something called Devil Charm. Something of a genjutsu I created to play on the victim pleasure senses. In short, my genjutsu explode the person's body with pleasure. Being too much, I end up passing out." Everyone was shocked as they looked at Lee, as Naruto had a big smirk on his face, as the many names come to pick up Kin, but her eyes then snapped open as she rushed towards Lee. Wasting no time, the girl kissed him, and Lee didn't hesitate as he kissed her back, as Naruto still had on that smirk on his face. As he broke the kiss, everyone gasped in surprise. Lee came over as Naruto gave him a thumbs up. "Well done, playboy," he said. As the other two fighters, Gaara versus Dosu. Gaara burst in the sand and reappeared on the floor, as Dosu made his way down. "You seem to hold the ability to control sands, so let's see what's stronger, your sand or my sound." Gaara simply remained silent. Dosu tried to attack him as Hayate began the match. Gaara didn't even move. Dosu was caught off guard when the sand suddenly lashed out at him. He tried to jump back, but he landed in a pool of sand that wrapped around his body. Gaara wasted no time as Dosu was floated up towards the air, trapped in a sand cocoon, sand coughing as he clenched his fist. He exploded in mid-air as a force made blood shower down. Surprising everyone by the brutal killing, Gaara returned the sand to his gourd. The body would decompose inside of it. Hayate announced Gaara the winner as he looked at the boy. The boy seemed to be twitching. Seemed like he was psychotic or something. Many people were flat out silent, including newly awakened Ino and Sakura. Kakashi was also back as well, as most of them couldn't believe the brutality that Gaara showed. But Naruto had a smile on his face. It should be fun when he gets to fight Gaara. The next match, Hinata versus Neji. Hinata was looking all nervous before Naruto held her hand. "Don't worry," he said, as he gave her a quick kiss. "You'll do just fine." Kuro and I watched in surprise. It seems she finally told the boy how she felt. "Don't worry, I'll be fine then, Naruto-kun," she said, "as long as you believe in me." As she made her way down there, Neji started to berate her the second she came down there. He tried to destroy her self-confidence, but Hinata looked up at Naruto as she stood strong. She's been training and working hard for this, as the both of them started to clash. It was one of the best fights in the preliminaries as they fought with their taijutsu. using a gentle fist style. The match go on for a full 3 minutes until the both of them struck each other in the chest. Hinata coughed up blood, confusing everyone because Neji got struck as well. But then, Hinata's arm was shown. Hinata looked at her arm. I can't believe it. The whole time you were... Neji cut her off, yes. I have been closing off your chakra points. You're no longer able to use chakra for the rest of this fight. He swatted her away like a fly. I told you that you were weak, and fate was against you. In truth, you never once had a chance against me, and you were destined to be defeated by me. Hinata shocked everyone though as she started to get back up, coughing up blood. As Naruto started to grip the railing tight. Why do you defy your fate, Hinata? You would just lose, he said. Because unlike you, I have someone I want to prove myself to, she said. To me, fate means nothing compared to him. You have become too clouded by fate and you're suffering from it. And you're being dishonest with yourself. Neji's anger skyrocketed at that moment. Be quiet, I'm not the delusional one here. You've already chosen your fate. He charged towards her to kill her. As he thrust forward, everyone gasped when the attack didn't touch Hinata though. It slammed into Naruto's back. As Naruto was holding on to Hinata, Neji was shocked. Naruto didn't even stutter by the attack. He just stood there holding on to Hinata, and the attack hit him. That was strange. Hey, Naruto-kun, how did I do, she said. A trickle of blood ran down her cheek. Naruto wiped off her face and looked at her with a small smile. You did great, but you're hurt, he said. As she coughed, the Jonin intends to appear. Should Neji try to attack Naruto and Hinata again, who had his back turned the entire time to him. I've been working on something, said Naruto. And I'm gonna use it, okay? Do you do, he said to her. She nodded as she trusted him fully. Naruto leaned forward and kissed her. It surprised everyone that he would do that now, but they soon discovered why. Hinata glowed a bright light as the wounds started to heal up quickly that she sustained from Neji's assault. She fell unconscious into his arms as Naruto held her bridal style. The Mega then came. They took her away just to check up on her. As Naruto started to laugh, everyone was confused by that action as he flexed his arms. No, not yet, he said to himself. He then turned towards Neji, releasing so much killing intent. Neji started to get scared. You better pray to your almighty God, or whatever fate bullshit you talk to. Because, if we fight, I'm gonna show you a devil that you will never unsee, he said to him. Neji started to back away. As he quickly made his way up the stairs, he felt a fear wash over him that he never felt before. As Naruto was walking away, but he had to stop. The next match was Zaku versus Naruto. Zaku made his way down with a smile on his face. I was hoping that this would happen. Now I can pay you back for what you did to my arms. Naruto turned towards Zaku, his smile turning bloody. He can vent out his anger on someone. Zaku couldn't have come at a better time. The final match, Naruto Sparda versus Zaku. Now, begin! As Hayate jumped back. It's time to pay you. Zaku was cut off as his face was grabbed. The ear left him as he slammed into the wall. He was confused until multiple fists crashed into his face. As Naruto claws dig into Zaku's face, tearing into his skin. Before he threw the boy, Naruto appeared above him and slammed his knee into his gut. Zaku coughed up blood as he was sent sailing to the earth. As Naruto laughed before crashing on Zaku, grabbing onto both of his arms, Naruto started to pull. Yank! Naruto tear his arms out of his socket this time. Zaku cried out in pain. As Naruto raised the boy's head and slammed it several times to the ground until a large blood pool started to appear. As Naruto picked up Zaku by his throat. As the boy was still alive, surprisingly, blood was filling up in his body though. I'm glad. I want you to feel this, my anger, my torment, all of it. You are going to be the sacrifice towards the Hyuga, for him to see what is in store for him when we dance. A gold orb appeared in his palm. Solar flare of Sengun, he said. A bright flash overtook the air and everyone closed their eyes. When it cleared, only a particle of ash was floating in the air. Zaku was nowhere inside. That was by far the most brutal display everyone has ever seen. And Naruto was one that did it. The winner of the match, Sparda Naruto Hayate, said. Naruto turned towards Neji. Here next see much of the words. But you guys be in subscribe right here. If you want things part of the do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to be posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.